Have you ever felt like something was missing and someone else had something you didn't? Like you're different and no one truly understands who you truly are. You might be a type 4. And in this video, we're going to be diving into the motivations of a type 4. And so if you have been typed as a type 4, or if you know someone that's a type 4, this video is for you. I'm Enneagram Ephraim, and I'm going to be your Enneagram coach. So let's dive into describing a type 4. Type 4s can be described as authentic. They refuse to put on masks. They constantly want to reveal their authentic self. They want to be true, they want to be raw, and they want to self-express themselves. And if it's not true to themselves, they don't want to show it or be it. So the phrase kind of fake it till you make it, they don't like that. They want to be real and raw, even if it's uncomfortable. 4s are creative. Type 4s don't see the world, they like to rethink it. Whether through art, music, or design, they want to transfer something ordinary and reveal it to the world. And they love to find beauty where there isn't any and finding deep meaning. They're very expressive. They're going to communicate their emotions through arts and words and through actions, kind of almost like putting on a drama show. Type 4s are also been described as very deep. They love seeking meaning in everything and it isn't afraid to express it or explore the depths of emotions. And so the way I describe it is kind of, you think of like a beach setting. Everyone loves going to the beach. Some people are just going to get their feet wet. Some people are only going to go waist deep. Some people are going to kind of be swimming out. But type 4s are a little bit different. If you've ever watched documentaries or TV shows where those scuba divers are going into those caves and you're like watching them going, I'm ready to get up and leave because this is uncomfortable because those divers are going into these caves and nook and crannies. They have the lights and you're like, I think you might die and I feel uncomfortable watching this. And so you leave or turn the channel and that is how the 4s feel like when exploring the depths of emotions. They go to places where people feel uncomfortable and they get excited about it. 4s also can be temperamental. 4s feel feelings intensely. And so which can lead to mood swings. And sometimes they come softly, sometimes like a storm. And so think of like waves. And so also too, they can, when I say temperamental, a lot of times they can also kind of put on a drama show a little bit of those temperaments. But those emotions to them are very real, regardless of how small or how big they are. All the emotions, they like to feel and express them. Now, let's dive into the core motivations. And the core motivations are, there's just 4 of them. There's the core fear. This is the thing that we're emotionally running away from. The core desire is the thing that they're trying to obtain. And there's something called the core weakness. This is the thing that they will use to get as far as ways they can from their fear while obtaining their desire. However, we call it a weakness because it over time, you use it because it kind of gets you what you want, but it never truly satisfies you. And eventually it just doesn't work. So it becomes kind of your kryptonite. And then you have your core longing. This is the thing you want to hear and experience. But a lot of times you end up are lacking in that and not being fully satisfied with it. But once you experience it, that's where you really find freedom. So let's talk about the core fear. The core fear for 4s is being inadequate, emotionally cut off, plain, mundane, defective, flawed, and insignificant. So let's talk about the word plain. And what I mean by plain is they don't like being the same. So when I do events and I find I've had events where I've gone and done Enneagram, and what happens is every now and then I'll have 2 4s and I'll look at them and be like, you two don't like each other now. And they're like, yep, we don't like each other because they're 4s and there's someone else like me. And so I must be not significant. I must be ordinary because someone else is like me. And so also too, one of the things that can frustrate a 4 is when people try to, hey, what's your favorite restaurant? Well, it's this thing over here that no one's ever really heard. And you're like, oh my goodness, that's my favorite restaurant. And they're like, it's no longer my favorite restaurant, because they want to be seen as different from everyone. And also, if you grabbed 400 people that were 4s and put them on a stage, you'd be like, wow, this is a very different looking group. And that's because they want to be different than everyone else. And if, heaven forbid, there was 2 people that looked like each other, man, the next day they would be in different clothes, different hairstyle, because I can't, there must be something wrong with me. I must look different. And so that's kind of the motivation of a 4. Now, 4s are actually great at seeing the gifts of others, but the downside is they turn inward and they kind of attack themselves for not having it. So imagine if you looked at an orchestra and, it's just playing beautiful music, and you're like, wow, look at the violin, the trumpet, even the triangle every now and then kicks in, a cymbal is making some noise to add in some extra noise, and the 4 sits there and goes, I don't sound like the trumpet, I don't have this beautiful melody as the violin, and there's something wrong with me now. And they forget that even though each person has a gift, with all those gifts plays a beautiful music, and there's nothing wrong with it. And I always like to remind the 4s, the 1 Corinthians 12, 18 through 19. And Apostle Paul is talking about the body of Christ. And he's talking about to make up a body, people do need different parts. And this is the end of that verse. It says, verse 18 says, but our bodies have many parts, and God has put each part just where he wants it. How strange a body would be if it only had one part. Yes, there are many parts, but one body. And so the body functions when everything is in order, when everything's flowing, when everyone's doing what they're supposed to be doing. And that's the same thing, going back to the orchestra analogy, is that 4s need to realize that I don't have these other gifts. I'm not an arm, I'm not a leg, I'm over here, whatever I'm doing. And that's how God intended it. And that's good that we each have different parts. And not bad. But that's where often 4s go. The core desire of a 4 is being unique, special, and finding their authentic self. 4s, again, don't have feelings. They are feelings. And authentic means everything, and they are great at spotting posers even like a mile away. They'll ask themselves questions daily. Who am I? What's my purpose? How does this narrative of my life fit in the grand scheme of things? And another trait of 4s, they can be called drama queens and crisis kings. And a lot of times that usually is when we talked earlier, that's when they usually kind of put on this drama show of emotions for everyone to watch. And not everyone paid for that ticket, but they get a free show. And so that usually becomes, people tell 4s that you're too much. And the reason why they get told that is because they are fully aware of their emotions to very depths. What they're not aware of is how it affects the people around them. The people around them are not prepared for that. And so going to the core weakness is envy. This is where they're feeling tragically flawed, like something foundational is missing, while others seem to have what they lack. And there's 2 ways to kind of look at this. There's the puzzle analogy. And if you've ever decided to take one of those puzzles with 1,000 or plus pieces, and so you spend hours putting the pieces together, and you're getting close to being done, and you're frustrated, and you're like, we're almost done, and you just have a few pieces left, and you're looking around going, where are my pieces? And so you go to the box and you shake it and you're like, uh-oh. And so you go look on the floor and you're looking around and I can't find the piece. And you go look under the couch cushion. And, oh no, did my dog eat it? What's going on? And that's kind of how 4s feel like there's something missing inside them. And so the other analogy I use is that I heard, it was the infinity loop. It just goes back and forth. And on one side of the infinity loop, if they ever have like siblings, I usually use this analogy where they would look at their siblings and go, oh man, they have a family, they got kids, they got the dog, they got the house, they got the job. Man, it's just, if I had that, if I just had that, I would be complete. And then on the other side of the infinity loop, it says that they go, man, if I ever do get that, please put a bullet right here, and because that would kill me, because that means I would look like everyone else. And that's just kind of how their weakness envy works, is they feel like something's missing. If I obtained it, I'd be complete. But also if I obtain it, I would die inside. Now the core longing of a 4, it says, you are seen and loved for exactly who you are, special and unique. And the Bible verse I have for this is the Psalms 139, 13 verse 14. It says that you made all the delicate inner parts of my body and knit me together in my mother's womb. Thank you for making me so wonderfully complex. Your workmanship is marvelous. How well I know it. And so 4s need to remind themselves that God actually put them together. God doesn't make mistakes. And he made you wonderfully complex. Yes, wonderfully complex. You are complexly wonderful. He made you unique and different for a reason. There's nothing wrong with you. You don't need to be searching for that missing piece, because technically nothing is actually missing. The only thing that would be missing would be Christ. And when you find Christ as your Savior, that is the missing piece. And that's going to make you whole. And so encouragement for my type 4s is to remind them that you have nothing missing. You have nothing wrong with you. You are made unique for a reason. And when you follow Christ, you will find that you're actually more whole than you have ever been. And so I would actually love to hear from my type 4s. Comment below what part of being a type 4 resonates you with the most. And if you want to dive more deeper into the Enneagram, you can start your journey just by clicking on the free guide and start your journey today. And for everyone else, I'll see you in the next video. All right, bye.